Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money-colored commentator. On today's show, the Mortality Revolution, Extending Planning Horizons, part 5 in our series on guaranteed lifetime income in retirement. Well, we're living longer, and we're going to be living a lot longer, especially, again, I predict that we will not see anything yet. We have not seen anything yet on medical advances that can impact our longevity. I think that's yet to come, and we're going to see that in our lifetime, and that could be a game changer and add another decade on top of everything we're talking about already. I want you to look at these inflationary rates right now. I know they're rather low right now. The purchasing power of the dollar has not been too bad lately, but they're not incorporating the true inflationary rate on goods and services that seniors use. And we're trying to get the legislature to come to the table and actually price the actual CPI, the Consumer Price Index, for specific to seniors so that we can quantify once and for all what is the true inflationary rate, not this. Here are the basic national spendings in retirement. You're looking at everything, and the biggest block is housing. Think about this. For the first time in history, the baby boomers are the first ones to have a mortgage going into retirement. Unheard of before preceding generations, who always felt at 62 to 65 they needed to be done with their mortgage payments. This is a large piece of pie, and that's why I teach home equity conversion mortgage technology. It's another government program like Social Security and Medicare. You'll see that will really help you to erase that number. That number has got to be defeated before you go into retirement some way, one way or another, and I can be able to help you with that. Now, I want to match fixed expenses that I have in retirement, essential and discretionary spending, with fixed income. I don't want to rely on mutual fund and ETF income because it's unpredictable. It doesn't have certainty. Good markets, bad markets. I cannot roller coaster. My life is, I have even money bills that I have to pay out every month. So I want to even that out. I also want to think about, if I have essential discretionary monthly bills, what government benefits or pensions? If I'm military, if I'm government, I'm going to have pensions more than likely. And I want to look at those. But for what we have is Social Security. Everybody in America, that's America's retirement, we all at least have Social Security. It's a guaranteed pension for everyone. So I'm going to be looking at all that I have. So I want to say, I'm going to take my pension, my government Social Security. If I'm not in a military or a government job and I have been contributing to IRAs, 401ks, Roth IRAs, I'm going to be looking at all the income from that, Social Security, and I'm going to subtract that from my monthly bills. If there's any gap, I'm going to take care of it by buying a lifetime income annuity with a COLA, cost of living adjustment, and I'm going to buy that, if you're married, in a joint annuity so that my income comes in for life. So I'm trying to match up Social Security with my joint income annuity to pay my essential and discretionary monthly bills. I want to segregate those monies and that income to take care of that, guaranteed. And again, Social Security may or may not have an increase in COLA. Remember, the last 7 years, 3 of those 7 years, we didn't get a bump up at all. So sometimes I like to look at a joint income annuity that's for life, and I want to apply a cost of living rider on top of it. Determine your budget gap. So get your guaranteed lifetime income annuity. We already figured out what I need to do on that. I'm going to take the difference between my Social Security and any pensions I have, put it against my discretionary and my essential spending, and whatever I fall short on, I'm going to buy a joint annuity on that. And I'm going to get a guaranteed cost of living adjustment. And I'm also, for people who say, but Steve, what happens if I died in a crash with my wife the next day? All that guaranteed lifetime annuity is gone. You could, for a little bit less in payment and benefit, either take a cash or installment refund so that your beneficiaries would at least get back what you actually had when you originally invested. So there's ways to play this. If you feel like, hey, I don't want to take a shot like that, I don't want to take an opportunity to expose my family and my beneficiaries to not get anything out of this. So they could do a cash and installment refund. It adds on to your contract, but it reduces your benefit because you're adding a benefit to your beneficiaries. But it's something you can think about. Think about this. The government came up with this. We're not inventors of this. The qualified longevity annuity contracts, the government said, hey, we're going to allow you to take 25%, not to exceed $125,000 per individual. So if you're married, it's all the way up to $250,000, as long as it's 25% of your actual 401k or your Roth IRA, your IRA. And you could take that and send that on into the future. You don't have to pay it at 70 and pay required minimum distributions. You could actually send those monies on all the way out to age 85. Now, the government already helped us invent the thinking behind QLAC, and the only product that they said that they would allow in here was a deferred income annuity. Think about that. That's the only one. No other product, not mutual funds, not ETFs. Why? Because deferred income annuities have mortality credits. Mutual funds and ETFs do not. At age 70, you can defer up to 25%, not to exceed 125, or again, married couple, $250,000. You can only use a deferred income annuity, and you have to start taking distributions from your delay, your deferral, at least at age 85. But I say that's when you're going to need it, especially if my mortality revolution is true. If my longevity movement, those timelines are pushed out to where I think they are, 85 could be the starting gate of another 5 to 20 years, depending upon how long you're going to live. So think about it. This could be the way to go. And if you want to defer, if you don't want to pay taxes anyways, and you don't need your RMDs anyways, you may want to start doing this. Estate planning. The exchange from the first generation to another generation to the fourth generation. Think about this. We could easily have 4 generations living in the same time period. Great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, and their children, all in the same generational timeline. The affluent have the medical advantage here because I've noticed that people who have money are able to buy the kind of medical care and extend their life. So what we're trying to do, sometimes you're thinking about the revolutionary ideas, whether it's Obamacare or whether we want to upgrade Medicare or Medicaid for everybody, Medicare for everybody. All those issues are we want to just be able to make sure that people have the same longevity possibilities as everybody else. The need to plan for an extra 10 years, I think you need to start thinking about this, and just whatever the numbers are, if the average is 88.8 for females, you need to add another 10 years onto that just to be safe. And again, stretch IRAs. I love this idea. When you see the government changing the timelines for stretch IRAs where you can actually take an IRA and assign your child to it, and they're going to use their mortality, and you're going to see the RMD, the required minimum distributions, reduce, and how long their longevity is going to be, this starts telling me the IRS already is picking this off and looking at human longevity. They're actually stretching the timeline for this, no pun intended. And then charitable annuity income, the same thing. We're now looking at income that you, as long as you're alive, that charity's going to get that kind of income for that kind of long period of time. To me, that's a huge revelation. I want you to, sometime when you really you're having problems going to sleep, I want you to look at the uniform lifetime tables and the joint life and last survivor. Under stretch IRAs and other combinations, you can look at these and say, look where the IRS is pegging these numbers. Many of these numbers are exceeding age 100. So when you look at these new timelines based on the uniform lifetime table and the joint last and survivor, you're going to look at numbers and you're going to go, oh my goodness, look at the IRS is already accommodating some of these longevity. They're already seeing it. So you're seeing the service stretch and actually then look at longevity as a reality because they're putting it into tables that they create. Longevity is a risk multiplier in retirement, and here are some of the big ones. Long-term care risk, medical risk, inflation risk, market volatility, and the sequence of returns risk. All these risks are huge exposure during retirement. But I don't want to just look at this as a longevity issue. I want to be able to start looking at it as an income issue and an IRR, internal rate of return. Look at life settlements. A life expectancy report is granted a person who's trying to sell their life insurance. It gauges the necessity of a single deposit and whether the investors can make money on buying that life insurance from the actual policy owner. Interesting. They benchmark the rate of return, and then generally the timeline is computated by monthly. So they'll say, hey, we think you're going to live for 60 months. We're going to buy your policy for X amount. We think you'll be dead by that time in 60 months. Every month that they're wrong, and they've been wrong big time, they're adding on or taking away from their internal return. It could be anywhere between 12 basis points and 15 basis points every single month. So if you start looking at people, life settlements, they have changed. They're looking at the longevity movement, and it's impacting life settlements. We're not getting the death claims that we used to have, or we thought we were going to have in the late 80s and early 2000s. Look at home equity conversion mortgage. Did you realize if you buy a HECM mortgage, you're going to be sitting there and saying, let's say you bought a home, and they're going to say, who's the youngest person in the married couple? Let's say it's 62. They're going to take that 62 and say, when will that person, that 62, when will they become age 100? They're going to take age 100, whatever that time is, and add 50 years onto it. My wife and I are doing a HECM home for purchase. She's younger than I am. Our Heckham home mortgage is due in the year 2102. Did you hear that? 2102. I'm broadcasting right now at 2017. I'm pretty sure I'll be done. Age youngest mortgage determines what year they'll turn 100. They'll add 50 years to it, and my personal mortgage is due at 2102. Unbelievable. Remember, Susanna Jones was the last tri-centenarian, and if she had an annuity, the internal rate of return would have been unbelievable based on her age, and even if she took it on the 1941 CSO, those numbers would have been unbelievable. In 1961, she was age 62. A lifetime annuity on the 1941, and her life expectancy was age 65. She would have been taking it to the bank every year for about 40 plus years. Think about it. Jane Austen said in Sense and Sensibility, if you observe, people always live forever when there's an annuity to be paid them. I just think you need to start looking at this kind of idea that the mortality revolution is going to impact our way we understand our underwriting and also in the way we understand annuity payouts for life. I think you're going to be making much more internal rate of return because I think we're going to blow by the averages that are already set in actuarial science today in 2017. And I think we're going to blow by them by a decade. I want to thank you for watching our series on guaranteed lifetime income in retirement. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or your financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.